What's going on, everyone, and welcome to the Trail Theory Podcast. I'm Brian.
I'm Alex.
I'm Austin.
And I'm Pfeiffer.
And today we are going to talk about maybe the most important thing on the trail or on your backpacking or camping adventures. We're going to talk about food. And so I think this group specifically, as we continue to dive down this rabbit hole, we all have very different opinions on types of food on trail and types of food at the campground when we kind of settle down for the evening and enjoy a meal. Some of which we share, some of which we don't. But everybody has kind of their own kind of vibe. So I think let's start with I would say like the main meal, which I would call like an evening meal. I think like sometimes breakfasts and lunches are kind of secondary. I would say like let's maybe start with kind of some opinions around dinner, what everybody thinks about, and how we kind of prepare for that. And then maybe how different trails call for different foods or those types of things. Anybody want to kind of start us off there?
This is actually probably... we're like 2 episodes in, but this is like my favorite subject. I listened to a podcast today about food. Like I love the prep. I love getting creative. I like trying to figure out, ways to make it better or easier or, sometimes harder. It depends on how much you care about your meal. But it's fun, So you wanted to start with dinner, I think, when you're doing your research and you're starting to backpack, the easiest thing to do is dehydrated dinners, right? That's like everybody knows about those when they go backpacking, right? Backpackers Pantry. What are some of the other brands?
Mountain House.
On the Go, a couple others.
Yeah, there's
Patagonia Provisions.
Yeah. I mean, you walk. There's a whole section in any outdoor store or REI or whatever that you go in.
It's like aisles
stacked.
Yeah. And ironically enough,
Walmart even.
You talk about this being like your favorite episode, or like you're excited to talk about food. I was thinking, like, man, like this might not be my favorite segment, but I literally watched a YouTube video yesterday about dehydrated meals out in the backcountry, and like they were rating them. And I was like, oh man, this is cool. Like, I'm into this.
My favorite.
Here we are, though.
I think that dehydrated food, like backpacker reviews, are like the most hilarious videos to review because it's just somebody just digging into this. Oh, well, that's pretty good. I think it's hilarious.
The meat's a little chewy. Yeah. It's like whatever.
Yeah, it's because it was cooked and then freeze dried
like 3 years ago.
4 years ago.
The expiration date is like 50 years from now. What is the expiration date on this for real?
Dude,
it's like
forever.
Really long.
It's a while. I mean, that's
so long.
Stable for a while.
Dude, you lose it before it goes
100%.
bad.
You'll die before it goes bad.
It's gonna get lost in my basement before it goes bad for sure.
Oh my god!
So it's weird because I think we can talk about both for sure, like food on the trail for backpacking, and then food when you're camping, like car camping or whatever. Like we're gonna do next week, or whatever. But like, I don't really care about the food that I bring or what I'm gonna eat for the most part when I'm backpacking. But Austin, when you were talking about how hard do you want to make it, I love prepping for the food that we're gonna eat or cook while we're camping to where you can like bring the kitchen sink if you need to or whatever. I love prepping and cooking for that.
I agree with
but
that.
I don't really care about
on the
what
trail,
I eat on the trail.
Is it just basic B on the trail?
It's for efficiency over anything else? Yeah, interesting.
And I know some people in this group,
totally different.
Brian with a Y,
totally
like to take the road less traveled. Whereas me, I'm just like, yeah, man, let me put some hot water in this bag of shit and like, yep, I'm gonna eat this. This is good.
I'm with Alex
15
on that.
minutes later, boom, pad thai.
I think it's a balance because I mean, and
I'm not necessarily saying I'm not ever envious of your magical meal, but the effort that it takes.
Yeah, but I mean, I think there's a balance. So, and one is part of there's a piece of me that's it just feels like the easy way out is just I'm going to go buy a pack of
Oh,
dried
so we're
stuff.
taking the easy
We're
way.
lazy.
Just saying. That's
Alex,
just
you and I are lazy.
I'm
We're lazy,
no,
bro.
I'll
backpackers.
take it, man.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
I'm
I
just-
like to get to camp and be like, "Yo, dog,
It goes-
I'm
Take it-
chilling for the night."
I'm taking
Yeah.
my boots off. I'm putting my Crocs
Crocs on.
on, and I'm gonna pour this water in this bag, and I'm gonna
and
sit
you know
back
what?
and I'm gonna
And
eat
you know what?
15.
And you know what happens every single time you guys are eating your backpackers pantry, whatever it is. And Pfeiffer and I have like beautiful cut cheese or spam
Yeah, well, let me get a
grilled
bite of
bread.
that.
And you're like, let me get some of that.
Hey, you always bring extra for the group.
I've never asked for a bite of
Is
your
that-
pad thai.
is that-
Hey,
hell no.
maybe you should.
Is that lazy or is it smart of us?
I don't know. It sounds
You guys are taking
opportunistic to me.
advantage
I
of us.
like it.
All I'm saying, and I'm not putting down the freeze dried. And actually,
No, I've done
and I
it
know
before.
I didn't get to go on this most recent trip because fortunately I was sick. But I did for that trip. I did buy 2 freeze dried meals,
I'm not buying it.
and I was planning on using them. And so I'm kind of. But I will never. I don't think I'll ever do a trip where I don't have
At least a mixture
At
of
least
something.
some solid mix
Yeah.
of like. There's a dinner that I'm going to do, and it's going to
No.
be kind of not from scratch. I'm not out there, friggin' like killing a cow and slaughtering.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like I'm
All right,
bringing
all right,
some.
so there's a reason why those things exist, why they're so popular, why so many backpackers use it. It's not like to disparage it. It
Sure.
makes sense. Like
Yeah.
I've done like I think my first few trips I did that. I went that route, and they're fine. Like I never like didn't like a meal. Like they're fine.
Yeah,
they're
taste
great.
They taste good.
It's really nice to
like-
have like a reward like that when
All
you've
right.
been working kind of real hard all day and setting up your camp, and you've been hiking all
Right.
day, and it's a really nice treat. For me, I go the other route because I kind of just want to be creative with my food on the trail. I cook all of the dinners for my family, and I kind of like that whole aspect and tradition of it. And so I put that into when I go backpacking, and I sacrifice weight for that.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
sacrifice
yeah.
a lot for that. And I'll talk about this. I'm sure it will come up some point in this episode, but like I brought eggs on the last and it didn't work out. And it's not because they were fragile. I'll get into it later. But like, okay, Pfeiffer, I know
Yeah.
you have kind of this famous meal that we make fun of you for, but honestly it's kind of badass.
It's yummy.
It's yummy.
All right.
Explain it.
So let's
Yeah,
go.
let's
So
hear it.
I will. So the origin, and it's not mine. That's the thing. I wish I could claim credit for it, but I can't.
I mean,
But
yeah,
you
this
should-
is
maybe
a
you should
lot of
make something.
A
In
lot
our-
of people know about
In
this.
our group, though,
in
you're
our
the
group
one.
it is, I suppose. But before I don't even remember the first trip that I did it on. But I remember going into that trip, knowing I didn't want to just do the freeze dried stuff and I wanted to do something different. And I looked around on YouTube and I saw this thing called the ramen bomb, which just blew my mind. And I'm just a ramen fan anyway. So, but I'm like, I'm gonna.
Ramen is a great.
Oh, I love ramen.
Ramen is a great trail meal.
Well,
It's
you can
light
use it.
and
That's
it's
the thing.
filling
And,
and it's
and, and
easy.
when
Hot
you talk,
water,
right?
noodles,
When you
done.
talk like trail meals and stuff, it's like if you're really gonna grind it down to its base parts, and you want to build something from quote unquote scratch, you need a base of some sort. So it's either going to be noodles or rice or something that's
Brian,
that's its core base.
educate us.
Well, so you need
Educate us.
so your base is, in this case in the ramen bomb, obviously it's just a pack of 49-cent ramen noodle from the grocery store, but chicken flavored, of course. Beans
What's
is
the
garbage.
famous brand? I always forget.
Mario Khan
Top
or whatever.
ramen.
Yeah,
Top
Top
ramen.
ramen.
Yeah.
But
Top
it's also-
ramen's the
there's
49
another
cents.
name. It's the Mario
Khan or
Mario
whatever.
Khan,
Yeah,
right?
whatever.
I can't
It's
remember.
just it's the orange pack
Top
of ramen
ramen.
that you
Everybody
find on the
knows.
shelf.
Everybody
Everybody knows
knows. Yeah,
exactly
Mario
what it is.
Khan.
Yeah,
I don't
it
know
comes
if
in a
I'm saying
plastic.
it right,
Comes
but-
in a plastic little sleeve, and
Yeah.
it's a brick of ramen
You've
and with
seen
a
it.
chicken packet.
Yeah.
You've
Let
seen
us know in
I
the
it.
comments if we're saying it wrong.
Everyone has
please.
seen it. I guarantee. it.
Bombard us.
It's Mario Sean. Yeah.
It's French. Somehow.
So
Oui, oui. It's not at all French, no.
So you that's your base, right? You got those base the noodles. So the ramen bomb is that. It's your ramen packet with the chicken flavor, and it's what I did is a half packet of the dried, like the powdered Idaho mashed potatoes, garlic mashed potatoes.
It's already sounding so
It's amazing.
dense.
And then either half, depending on how crazy you want to get
The
with it.
skinniest guy on the podcast is
Yeah.
talking about this.
Depending on how crazy you want to get with it, is either a half or a full block of Spam.
Yep.
And cubed up. So on the first trip I did it, and I've graduated a little bit in how I cook it since then. But the first trip I did it, and how I saw it on YouTube, was you boil some water, and you get a freezer bag, Ziploc bag, and you throw all that stuff in it. So the ramen, the chicken flavoring, the cubed Spam, however much of that you want, and the half mashed potatoes. And you put the boiling water in the Ziploc bag with it, seal it, shake
Mix
it up,
and
let
it looks
sit,
like vomit in a
just
bag, and
let
then you eat it.
And you just
Oh
let
my
it
God.
sit until the noodles get nice and,
So when you bring the
soft.
Spam out, before the trip, you're prepping it by taking it out of the can and cubing it?
Oh, yeah. So
You don't bring it in the
But
can, right?
I have seen, and this has been a recent thing. Last trip, there was a package of Spam that appeared unopened. It got opened on the trail. It
The
came in
can?
like the silver sleeve, kind
That
of like
was
a tuna package.
Like how tuna comes.
That's
Yeah.
how Paul
And-
brings it.
No, there were a number of Andrew brought some too.
Andrew
What?
brought it too.
Spam
And
has been
it-
expanded
Spam
to
is-
other
Spam
members
Spam
of the
has
sleeve.
expanded into a new product
Oh
line.
my God!
Spam
Here we
in the
go.
sleeve.
So
Yeah, for
now
sure.
I don't think you need to cube it which actually makes
Well, the
me
trick
more
with that-
interested in your meal
the trick
because
with
it's like
that
less
is-
effort to start.
Right. The trick is Spam in a sleeve is it's very thin. It's almost like a little tuna packet. So it's like a fillet of Spam instead of a block, right?
Cube that boy up
fillet.
though.
What part of the-
yeah, it's like a
But
patty.
So my method.
What part
my
of
method,
what animal does that come from?
I'd say it's his knee.
My method has always been
Bits.
pre-trip. I get a full can of Spam. I cube all of it up. I split it in half. I put it in 2 portions, and now I've got two dinners basically, and I get
Sure.
the ramen. So and some trips I've done 2. If we're there 2 nights, I do the same ramen bomb each night. But that's what the ramen bomb is. It's ramen, mashed potatoes, and Spam that you throw in a bag and you let heat up,
You let it do its thing.
and then you just eat it, and it's amazing. And I was ridiculed, despite how jealous you all are now. But
I'm not jealous right now, but on trail,
on
yeah.
trail, it's amazing.
Yeah, it
But
looks
it is the and I will say, it does taste fantastic and it's amazing. But my initial sort of motivation for it was not even for taste. I don't even think I didn't try it before I took it on the trail. I just saw the YouTube video, but I was going
That's
for
hilarious to me.
I didn't try it at all.
Let her rip.
I was going for.
Well, I'm either gonna have the shits or they're
Listen,
gonna be
man.
just fine.
Listen, man, it's noodles, potatoes, and Spam. I like all these
What
things.
could
Let's
go-
do it.
What could go
Hopefully,
wrong?
I have enough toilet
Basic
paper.
flavor for all these things and some salty meat on top of it. Let's
My-
do it.
shit. My
Can you
motivation-
Can you dig down low enough into the ground to get it all covered?
My motivation for that was strictly how many calories can I pack in for the least amount of weight.
You've
I
already.
actually calculated out. It was like that recipe for one dinner was like 900 or 1100 something calories. I'm like, after a day of hiking, I want to be able to shove that in my face and recover everything that I lost and be ready for the next day.
You've always been very calorie conscious
Oh, yeah.
while you're on the trail.
I agree, and we just talked 12 minutes about what your meal is, and I just want to simply describe what my meal is. It's very simple. It's a little package that comes pre-prepared for you, and you undo the package, and it sounds like this, and then you put hot water in it. And then you wait, and then you eat it. That's it.
How boring that is. It only
15
took 30 seconds.
And then you know what that
It
is?
still tastes
It's pad
good.
thai.
It's
It's
pad thai.
fettuccine alfredo with chicken. It's stroganoff.
Yeah, that's
it's
nice.
ravioli.
And you're
it's
eating
lasagna.
it out of a
And I get it.
manufactured package.
Oh, and
It's
you're
okay.
eating yours out of a
Branding on it.
Ziploc
That's
bag.
okay.
Okay, yeah, you can't argue.
no.
You can't argue.
Oh yeah, let me open the Spam can.
You can't argue dehydrated food versus Spam.
But I opened the Spam
Spam's
at
gonna
home.
last
Spam is like
just as long.
Spam
if
is
not
like
longer.
eating kneecaps. Like,
I opened the Spam at home. I'm
Possum
not carrying the
pie.
packaging with me.
Oh, well, define what's in there. I can't.
It's ground up possum tails. Who knows where that comes
and
from?
part of it, and I'm not knocking pad thai's delicious.
We're not knocking it. That's just
We're
the
not
humor
doing
of
it.
it.
Right.
Right?
I do legitimately enjoy the process though. It's
Well,
nice.
going on,
You know.
but piggybacking off of that, like again, I like the process, and so like what I've done, during I think the 3rd or 4th trip that we did, I was in the middle. Actually, I was right at the end of. I was doing a stretch of the keto diet, which I'm sitting here right now. I do not recommend it for everybody. I'm not like this keto apologist, right? Like I just did it and it worked okay for me, whatever. But I happened to be on the end of it, and I was like, I'm gonna do keto on the trail, and then on the way back, we always have like a celebratory meal
We'll
like a
talk
brewery
about
or
Shout out to
something.
Crunchies in Michigan.
We'll talk about
Sponsor us.
We'll talk about that.
Ooh.
The end of the hike meal is always so important. But I was like, I'm gonna end it there with like a beer and a burger, whatever. But I'm gonna do the trail keto, and so I couldn't. And I know that there may be one company out there that does a keto meal like that for backpacking, but it's expensive. I didn't want to go that route. I didn't want to take that route. I had already been experimenting with so many different like ways to make food to work for this diet. So I was like, I'm going to go this route. And I brought like 2 full avocados.
Yeah,
I brought
remember.
a big old hunk of like hard cheese that I knew wasn't going to go bad or get melty on me.
The old circle meat.
I brought cured meat that I
Yep.
knew again wasn't going to get bad.
Circle
wasn't going to
meat.
go bad.
Circle meat.
Shout out to Circle Meat.
And some like low carb tortillas and
in a Tupperware that weighed.
I was gonna say
Your
yeah,
food-
Tupperware
no,
in
my
it, too.
food is
Your
heavy,
weight
but
so
you know,
much
There
on
was
that
no.
trip.
You were not a graham weenie for sure.
No.
You're-
I
What's a gram weenie?
you were great.
You were Graham Weenie.
So a graham weenie, and we'll just look it up just for the sake of sanity.
The
just
actual definition
so we
of a
can
graham
we can
weenie?
define it. But a graham weenie, by our definition, is
Brian.
someone who's very particular about weight. And as I sit
On the
here
trail,
and
yeah.
Google,
As he pulls that up, it's basically if you weigh your
Is it a
toothpaste.
picture of me?
If you weigh your toothpaste, you're a graham weenie.
I don't think it was that. He's right. We're going off topic.
We are off topic, but
I
yeah,
weigh
Brian-
I weigh everything down to the ounce, down to the gram.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Graham Weenie.
Graham
Let's say
weenie,
I'm a
yeah.
gram weenie.
Well,
I like to know what I'm bringing, and I make lists. I've made a list ever since our first trip. I continue to make lists. I love to go back and look at my previous lists and all the gear that I bring, including my toothpaste, including my food, to see how I've changed. And yeah, it's interesting to know how much I'm carrying weight-wise.
And I'll never stop.
There's no good definition online. It's actually a little uncomfortable what I'm reading. I'm not gonna read it. But
Well, when you Google weenie,
but if you Google graham weenie backpacking, you'll get there's a lot of articles about people who are graham weenies. So, but I think to bring it back to food, so if you are a graham weenie or an ounce counter, which is great, I think we all kind of have become that to a degree.
Yeah.
Brian, to a little more degree, and that's
To the
it's
end.
endearing, it's charming, it's part of who you are. But if you're gonna go the keto route,
I did.
not recommended on trail per Austin's experience.
No. I didn't. I don't recommend the keto diet as a whole. I actually did it successfully.
The
on
food,
the trail.
yeah, the food was good. I guess my
No.
point is to say that if you are going to be worried about weight,
Well,
That's
don't
not
go
it.
that route,
But-
because
but-
you can get lighter.
But I'm telling you, from the we've done a lot of trips, and I know what I can sacrifice for things that make me more comfortable.
Sure,
and
sure.
I will add more weight if it means my food prep and my food is going to be better for me.
so at that
So
point,
that's-
Sure.
your food is
my
top
food
notch.
is top notch. So like
before everything else.
So because I have to bring avocados are gonna. I bring avocados on trips, and I don't do keto anymore. I just like it. I do. I typically bring tortillas, and I do. I'll do peanut butter and stuff like that for lunches. But I also like it. Like I like cured meats. I like cheeses. I like avocado.
I do like the cured meats and
mustard,
cheeses.
mayo.
Cured
And
meats
that's
are
what
good,
yeah.
And dude, I stepped it up the last trip that we went to. I bought a little pan, and I grill it.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I fry it in the
Yep.
pan, and it's just.
And I'm gonna.
and we now
like,
use
even
that
if-
pan to fry up
Spam.
Yeah,
And
buddy.
it is delicious.
Yeah, a little
Some
breakfast spam, a little breakfast bacon.
Yeah.
No, but I
some
think that's
delicious possum tail.
I think that's a huge part of it, though. Is it's like, all right, if we're sitting at this table right now, and I give you a bowl of ramen bomb and a bowl of freeze dried pad thai or whatever, and you're looking at it objectively,
Pad Thai every time.
I was gonna say you might choose one or the other. They might be equivalent, whatever. They're not. None of them
Sure.
are like gourmet.
No,
But
gourmet.
out there,
Out there.
Oh, dude,
one
out
of,
there, it's a different game,
And-
man.
and it
You've been
depends-
humping for miles,
right, and it depends on what's important to you, though. So for me, like it's way more rewarding for me because if I've put a little extra effort into cooking the thing, quote unquote cooking. It's all cooked already. I can eat it raw and be
Squirt it
fine.
in your Ziploc bag and
You
then
can't eat
shaking it up.
You can't eat the potatoes raw. That's just powder.
It's just bad. I mean, you could. Just
If you've got
swish
enough
it down with
saliva in
water,
your mouth,
yeah.
you can make
It'd
spuds.
be like the cinnamon shot.
We need to do a survival back trip where we can't bring like a torch, or we can't build a fire.
Gosh.
We can't have.
I'm just gonna bring
a
all
tank
spam.
or anything
I'm just
like
gonna
that.
live on spam for the whole
It's
weekend.
gotta be raw.
The challenge.
I think I can do most of my
But I
dinners
think
would be
it's-
tricky.
It goes
if, you
to
could just,
your
if it's all based on survival, then that's no problem. Mentally, I can get over that
Right.
for survival. But
Yeah.
like, I can.
But that's not the
sacrifice
point.
for fun.
And I that's why I think you put a little. It takes me a little bit of time. I got to put some effort into it, and out of that, I get. It's just there's a little bit more reward for that, and to me, that's cool. It tastes better to me because I know I put some effort into it. Instead of if I was eating it right now, I'd be like, yeah, whatever.
See, I don't want to say I'm the complete opposite because, well, maybe I am complete opposite. I get out there and now, don't get me wrong, I certainly have an opinion on food while I'm out there because let's face it, and we'll get here in a minute. I have now taken a Chipotle burrito on 3 trips now.
Yeah.
We can talk about that shortly.
Yes.
Oh baby.
But my opinion simply on the trail is like basically the path of least resistance. I do think calorie density is important. So like I do smash gummy bears, and lately I've been smashing sunflower seeds, which when you read the package on, holy smokes, there are a lot of calories in like a handful of sunflower seeds.
Yeah.
Really?
Like holy shit. Like
Tons
I was
of
like looking at
sodium.
it, was like 190 calories for like a little like
what's
whatever.
I have
another
a
one
question
that I
It's-
haven't-
It's interesting.
It's crazy.
You said there's a lot of calories in sunflower seeds.
It's dumbfounding.
Does that include the shell?
I don't think so.
No,
I think, dude.
it's-
I mean, it's
no.
like. I mean, I guess think of like regular seeds are kind of dense in calories.
Right.
You know, whatever.
See, I always thought like
Peanut butter's
when I
kinda
go to the
calorie
grocery
dense.
store and they have like broccoli for a price and it's like whatever per pound.
Does that include the
I'm
stem?
like, that includes the stem. This is a ripoff.
Yeah, this isn't even the good stuff.
Like
I'm
the
gonna pitch this
stem is
in.
half of this thing.
Charge
It's like,
me for the bag.
exactly.
Yeah. This is bush.
So
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
That's actually a really interesting question. But you know what? And speaking of calorie density, and this is so none of us, to my knowledge, have brought this on the trail. Maybe unless it was part of a trail mix. But dates. Have you ever looked at how insane? Like if you actually eat a date, like 2 of those things is like 300 calories.
All right. How many people at this table have just sat and just crunched on some dates?
Me yesterday.
Yeah, you're strange.
Dates are disgusting.
Oh, dude,
Get out of
man,
here.
are you kidding?
Unless those puppies are covered in like chocolate. Yeah, like dude, nah, dog. I'm not
Have
eating
you
dates.
you are
If
all right.
they're that healthy for
Medjool-
me, then I guess when
No,
I'm in a
go
coma,
get a-
you can just
go get a
liquefy
pack.
it and stream it right
Go
into
get
my
a
body.
packet of Medjool dates. They come in a little pack. They're about this big, and they got a pit in the middle. They
$24
They have
for
a
2
pit
ounces.
too?
Great.
They
have
are,
a pit
dude.
too?
It's candy.
Definitely not.
It's
Breaking my
candy.
teeth and going to the dentist
No.
afterwards
You don't
now
even,
too.
All right, I'm convinced none of you know what a date is.
I've had a date. I had him a couple weeks ago. Shout out to Julie's chocolate covered dates from Expo East. But
is not
no,
the same.
I don't.
All right,
No, man, I'm
until-
not crunching on dates
I'll bring
convenience.
some.
That's
I'll
like
bring
saying,
some
oh man,
next
you
time.
want
I
to
tell
eat
you
a
what,
bag of
they're not
raisins?
crunchy.
No,
They're
dude, nobody
soft.
wants a bag of
Next-
raisins.
It's like a fig. They're not crunchy. They're soft.
Next
I
time
know, they're
we're in
chewy.
the
They're like
Yeah.
a raisin.
Next time
Yeah,
we're in
the
the
big one.
Calm down. All right. Next time we're in the studio for a podcast to record a
bringing
couple
dates.
podcasts, you're bringing dates,
bringing
and we're
dates.
gonna tell you whether they're good or they're shit.
It's candy. You're gonna eat all of them. But I
You're
will
gonna be
say,
picking-
speaking of
picking
calorie
fruit out of
density,
your teeth, yeah.
next trip, I'm gonna have to bring some because it's in like literally 2 of them.
Well, we'll see.
Bring some next week.
It sounds
We're gonna see-
inspirational.
Bring some next
to me.
week.
We're gonna see how many you need to bring because we're gonna judge those things pretty hard.
Yeah, buddy.
I'm gonna have to bring a lot because you're gonna
Yeah,
want to
buddy.
eat all of them.
All right.
Bring some next week.
So to bring
Anyways,
it back,
anyways.
okay.
Bring it back.
So my attitude simply is, I want to get to camp and do like the path of least resistance.
Yes, I get that.
And I 100%, I like the ramen bomb, dude, is yummy. Period. It's kind of bland, but it's yummy. I love Spam. Whatever.
well,
It's
now you bring
delicious.
siracha, right?
Oh, dude, yeah, and that's
Get
a
some
whole nother
Tabasco.
level. So, okay, we'll
Yeah.
talk about that. And then, like Austin, you're like, I don't love avocado on its own, but like mixed in with things, creamy,
With some
delicious,
cheese and
awesome
circle
touch.
meat?
They're
Oh man.
You
fat,
talk about
a lot of good fat in them.
cheese. You
Yeah.
talk about circle meat and all sorts of like cured meats and whatever, which we call circle meat.
Can we define? It's
Yeah, circle meat is like is a tubed meat of
Tubed
sorts,
meat,
like
you
a
know,
salami
cured meat,
or,
salami.
I mean, I'm not
pepperoni.
bringing hot dogs on the trail.
yeah.
Like,
It
you know,
sounds
or
incredible.
bologna.
So, but my attitude is simply like, get to camp. warm up water, sit around the campfire, chill, loaf, and do nothing. Turn into a slug. Especially like because some trails we go out there, we don't know how hard it's going to be.
Well,
Right.
and some,
and we get to camp, and it's like I'm toast.
well, and some campsites are not always perfect.
Right.
Like some of them are kind of roughing it, and you don't have the most comfortable spot to cook a meal. Like sometimes you're on half a rock with your jet boil or whatever you use to heat up your water, and that's it. Like
you don't
it's
always
not,
have the trail blessing of
Right.
like the fucking picnic
You know how
table.
many times that I've made my little tortilla and meat cheese thing, and I'm like balancing it
On a
my
stump or
dude,
something.
and it's
Right.
like not comfortable, and that's kind of the bummer of it too. But like, yeah, sometimes it is the path of least resistance.
Sure.
Because there's a lot you have to do after hiking. So much in a day to like get your camp set up before
Yeah,
it's
to get
dark,
your tent
build
up.
a fire.
Everything,
You
dude.
got to get everything together.
Not
and
even
then,
just building the fire, but getting the firewood to build the fire. Then
Exactly.
there's a
Process.
lot.
Yeah,
there's a lot to go into.
And
it.
so
So I
I
totally
Camp
get
is
that.
like a whole game, right?
And that's why I'm with Alex on. I'd rather just get my shit set up, get my tent up, blow up my bed,
And just
get
chill.
everything and just relax and chill.
Take a little bit of whiskey from the flask
Yeah,
and just
I'm
like
gonna boil
chill.
some water.
Which is key.
I'm gonna pour
Which
is
this
key.
in, and I gotta say, man, like, yes, the ramen bomb does taste good. I have done ramen with the Idaho potato, the garlic potato, or whatever mix.
Yep.
and minus the Spam before I really did acquire that salty ass taste
You
of Spam.
baby stepped into it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I did that. I cooked it in my pot versus in a plastic bag, which was super
Huge
fucking annoying.
mistake.
Massive mistake.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's
kidding?
such a
Clean up, all that
Dude,
junk.
clean out your plate like that.
And I
I
know,
don't do that.
I know, dude. I know you're
I don't want to
saying.
eat and go
Hold on a
clean
second.
up.
I know you're saying it's not that big of a. It's not that big of a deal.
But it
You're
is a
right.
deal.
But it's a part. It's part of just when I get to camp. I want to be lazy, man.
Oh, I
And-
love.
Yeah.
That's what
I
I
wanna
love.
be a slug.
I love how different people
awesome.
approach
Yeah,
it. Is
but
because
I get it.
I'm not trying intentionally to create more work for myself, but like I love that process.
Yeah,
I get
it's
to camp.
different.
There's
It's
a
just different
process to
mindset.
get
I love
a fire
it for
going.
you.
Well, let's
there's a
let's talk
process to do
about.
these things.
Hold on, let's back up a little bit because we mentioned it a little bit and we totally like skipped over it. But we have this kind of a new tradition with our group where
chipping?
the night before. We go backpacking. Typically, what we've done is we've started like extremely early on a night. Like we'll travel throughout the night, and then we'll either start the trip late at night
Like
and
at
find
12
a
or
quick
1 in the
campsite.
morning.
Yeah, or
After a drive,
or whatever, typically, we don't start typically in the morning. It's usually an afternoon or really late at night. And we've had this new tradition that the day before we drive, we all place Chipotle orders.
Yep.
We put them in a cooler.
Delicious.
We keep them really, really cold, then put them on the top of our pack. And then the first night when we make a fire, we just throw those suckers right into the fire, heat up our Chipotle burritos, and mash.
I don't know if it was the first trip or the second trip or what. But we started talking about like, dude, I think it
How
was,
incredible!
how
I remember
incredible.
saying it, like, how
Yeah.
incredible would it be if we had like a Chipotle,
Chipotle
burrito?
burrito, right.
And there were different
Something
versions of it. It was
ridiculous.
like,
Yeah.
oh, maybe we bring a steak and we let it thaw out
Which
over the first day,
Austin's
which
done.
Austin did.
I've done.
It's
I
like
don't recommend it.
But we had these different versions of like, oh, what if we did? And then the Chipotle was the one that actually.
Like, we gotta
We're
do
like,
it.
we're-
Hold on.
We're gonna do it.
We could talk. We could go through the
So
steak.
Linville,
Yeah.
Linville, I had this steak that had been in my freezer for forever, and I was like, you know what, dude? I'm bringing it to this trip. It was Linville, and I was like, I'm bringing it. I'm gonna cook it over the fire. It's gonna be great. Whatever. That's what I'm gonna have for the night. So I brought this thing, and it was like. First of all, it's like I have it in aluminum foil, but it's like leaking all over the place.
I thought it
Like,
was vacuum sealed.
It was, but like the ice that was over it was just water was just draining
okay.
into my pack,
Yeah.
and I was like, whatever, this sucks. I was like, whatever, it's gonna be
No,
fine.
no bears out there, though.
Yeah.
Thankfully, meat juice pack over here.
we're in Linville, which is in North Carolina, and they call it the Grand Canyon of the East Coast. It's like it's a beautiful, beautiful place, but you have to get up on a pretty high ridge. And we were staying on the ridge for the night, and we were passing by a couple campsites. I actually found one that had a grate, and I was like, oh, great.
Yeah.
Great. This is great.
This is great.
I'm taking this and I'm going to use this for my steak. So we went like maybe another half a mile and we found a spot, whatever. I had the grate. By the time we start cooking, it is pitch black out, and
Even
I'm
with,
like,
even
all right,
with
I'm like,
headlamps and stuff like that, with
dude,
it was still real
it was
dark.
really, really dark.
Yeah,
and so
you-
I put the steak on. I'm like, this is great, sweet. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, it's still a little red. Like I can tell.
You're also cooking on the fire part,
Well,
which is
the grate didn't
so
work
hot.
out as well as I thought it would. And so I kind of like made this like makeshift, like I had some logs up and I kind of like leaned it up. I didn't
That's
care if it was
right.
getting like dirty, like whatever. I'm just going to, I was like, I'm making the steak work. I don't care. This is my dinner. So I'm making it. And I'm like, okay, I think it's done now. I take one bite of that thing. It was like my left shoe. It was so burnt and so bad.
So and for the listeners, I'm gonna give the other account of this steak saga. Okay, we have fire. We're just this is the biggest trip we've ever done people wise. So we got 10
That
people.
was the 10, yeah.
Chilling around this fire, this little tiny fire that we've got, and we are packed in like sardines on this ridge. It is tiny. We are like, it is so tight at this campground. And I remember this steak comes out and we're like, oh yeah, this is like this big experience. And I swear, man, it's like you pulled it out of the package and just threw it on the fire and was like, yeah, give it a minute, it'll be done. Like there was no fanfare for this steak. It was just like, oh, here's heat, here's the steak, done. And like, yeah, I remember you like sharing it. You were like, this isn't even edible.
Any nutrition that thing
Yeah.
had, it was
Just
totally
burnt
cooked
out of it.
out. It was done.
I will say this though. I think if it wasn't pitch black and if you weren't trying to judge,
There are ways to
judge
do
the
it.
Oh, yeah,
doneness
for sure.
of a
of
steak
course,
with a
but I
headlamp.
didn't prep. I was just like, I'm bringing the steak. I'm cooking it.
I
and
mean,
eating it.
Fire,
look,
I think it could have been
heat.
done.
You can do we've done it while we've
Right.
car camped, right? We've done really good steaks, really good pork chops while we car camped right
Sure.
over the fire. It's possible to do. You do it a lot slower.
Patience.
Patient,
Yeah.
right? You're not
Don't-
You're not
there was
on
no
flame.
patience.
You're
No
not
patience in this steak saga.
See, that's the thing though. He's watching us eat our.
Yeah, we're like munching, and we're munching like, dude.
Yeah.
After
It
waiting
was
for our meals to like cook for 15 minutes,
Yeah.
And it was a hard hike that day.
And we're
we
eating
were
our food.
because we
It's
didn't have to,
like,
we didn't have to
well,
wait for a
man,
good
I need to
fire
eat.
and coals and this
Yeah.
and that. Like
We
showed up
busting
at
our
camp, we lit our pocket rockets or whatever, and we had like boiling water within
Done.
like 5 minutes. The fire's still getting stoked, and it's like, oh yeah, we're just like, I'm sitting there eating pad thai, and Austin's like, oh well, the fire's almost ready, almost ready for this steak.
I think my ramen bomb was done before your steak. I was good.
Anyways, that brings us to like us starting. I think the next trip is when you guys started
That was
going
the-
on this
yeah,
one.
yeah,
It
yeah.
was.
We started doing the Chipotle thing, and honestly, like it's.
I think it was the three of us that
was
started.
80K, yeah.
Started
It was me,
it.
Alex, and
Adirondacks.
Brian.
and it's
Yeah.
such a good
Was it
idea.
80K? Yeah.
Yeah. Because we didn't have fires the first
You're
night.
right.
Yeah.
And I remember, I can't remember
And
what
we were bummed.
trip we had talked. I remember saying it on the trail, like it was kind of like we jokingly from our first trip, we have this kind of, I guess, inside joke of like saying like, could you imagine? And I remember saying, I think
you
at one point, like,
imagine?
could you imagine like a Chipotle burrito on the trail? And then I remember, I'm not sure if it was because your steak
I
or
think it
not.
was.
I remember thinking like,
We could
do this.
This
It's
is
doable.
how
Yeah.
we do it.
It's doable.
We freeze, like not freeze them, like we put them like in the
We put
fridge
'em on
the
ice,
night
get it
before,
cold, put 'em on
and
ice,
then like however long
double
the
wrap
drive
it.
is, double wrap the
wrap it with
foil,
foil.
throw it in a Ziploc bag, and then show up at the trail, put it in the accessible part of your backpack. If it gets a little bit of sun, whatever, who cares? Like just let it thaw and like warm up throughout the day. Get to camp and then get that fire going, and then like either find like a little like log to rest it on and slide it in, or like when we
Right
went
on the
last
coals,
time, it's
dude.
like, dude, find a rock and like that foil will get
Dude,
black.
it's
Like,
the
but once that
best.
foil comes off there, that burrito is like a
You're
sweet, beautiful thing when it comes out of that foil.
It's one of the
I
best.
love the saga
things.
of the Chipotle burrito because
It's hilarious.
Because we did it the first time when 80 came, we couldn't have fires.
Oh my gosh, and it
So
was still
it was
delicious.
It was still
Good.
delicious. But
Yeah.
we brought it and we were like,
How did
well,
you eat it?
we just ate it cold,
Ate it.
and it was
Really?
still
It was
amazing.
Thought it was cold, but it was
as
like
we were
out of the
eating
fridge.
it, that's why it's this like multi-trip saga. Because as we're eating it, we're like, this is the best thing.
But
I've
could
ever
you
had.
imagine?
But could you imagine if it was
There was
hot?
some fire.
And then the next trip we did it and we actually could do
Oh,
fires.
Dolly thoughts
It was
too.
great.
And I will say, listen, all right,
was
this
great.
goes back to my argument
Magical.
for the ramen bomb. Because my argument for the ramen bomb is I'm putting in some effort. I'm patient. I'm letting it do its thing, and I'm
There's
getting a good
no
meal.
effort in
Yeah,
it.
No.
yeah,
But
yeah.
listen, the second trip, we had to let those things cook on that fire for.
They were on there for a while.
Brian, but let me just simply explain to you.
took it out of a bag and put it on the fire.
All right. Let's compare apples to apples here, okay? In one situation, and I understand there's like levels of convenience here, okay? I'll acknowledge that. Let's look on paper what a ramen bomb is, okay? A ramen bomb is a 65-cent package of ramen, $1 package of shitty potatoes, and $1 package of Spam. Okay, let's paint the picture for the listeners. Okay, and then on the other side of that effort, which requires no effort at all, is a Chipotle burrito with carnitas, rice, sour cream, cheese.
Dude,
have you ever had a Chipotle burrito and thought, no, that's not that good? I would,
no, dude. So
everyone here eats that 100%. Shit for fun, and would you just cook up a ramen bomb on a Friday? I was like, man, I'm dying for a ramen bomb.
You're missing the point of my argument. I wasn't arguing about quality. I was arguing about the time you put in. We had to put time into heating those burritos.
To heat up a Chipotle.
Can I be
burrito.
honest?
You had to wait. And it was worth it. And
Fine.
it was worth
Still
it.
easy.
And it was
Can I be honest? So I'm not even joking. There have been multiple times where I have gotten Chipotle with my family and I didn't eat my burrito. I put it in the fridge and I waited till everyone was asleep. And I put it in the oven because I wanted the same. Because honestly, there's something. I remember you, Alex, you saying this when we were heating them up. There was something about the sour cream, like
the way it
congealing
together
with the rice, and it so
binds the rice
good.
together. It
Oh
binds
my
the rice
binder.
together.
It's the glue.
Amazing.
It's the glue that holds it all together.
I gotta
baby.
say, that's my favorite backpacking meal. Is that first night
Straight
Chipotle,
up, man.
dude.
Yeah. No, I
It's
don't
not
know.
even-
I
but
will
it's not,
always
let's be
do it.
honest, that's not even
not
a
a
real
backpacking
backpacking meal.
Hey man,
But we've made it
if
special for our group.
Dude, I brought
hold on. If I'm eating it on the trail while I'm backpacking, it's a backpacking meal.
Listen.
If they
and
can
I'll
figure
say
out a way
this
to
too.
freeze dry it.
No,
Why?
No.
Why, man?
No, you don't
You
need to.
don't need it to.
You don't need to.
I don't want to carry that thing for more than
it.
one
You don't need
night.
to.
Dude, just accept it as a day one treat.
Yeah, it's a day one thing.
And then
Dude,
the
multiple
next day
times.
you can do your ramen bomb,
And look,
then
listen.
you can enjoy the satisfaction
Listen,
that comes
You're
with that.
telling me to do things I've done. I've
When-
done exactly
No,
that.
that's my point.
When you're doing the Chipotle burrito too, you're not like going fully
You don't want to put that
loaded.
dragon sauce on
You're
there.
not putting dragon.
Excuse me, no dragon sauce, but we can all agree that Piper has the weakest Chipotle burrito order of all time.
Yeah, it's like a baby.
When I'm
it's
on
like
the
it's
trail-
like a little Taco
It's
Bell burrito.
literally was like half the size of a normal burrito.
When I'm on the trail, listen. I have a sensitive stomach as it is. So speaking of food, Pfeiffer doesn't actually try any of his meals before he goes. I will
ruins the
go
surprise.
I will go and buy the meal. I'll buy it twice. I will have it at home to see how my body reacts.
you have to test it out.
because
I respect that.
I don't want to have.
If you're that sensitive,
Yeah, man, I don't want to have problems and be, in the woods by myself while in the dark, in the middle of the night. Like,
We've
I just
had
don't want to
that.
do that.
You don't like
Been
to
there.
get dangerous.
We've done that.
We've had
I don't want
moments.
to do. I just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So I will.
Nothing
keep,
wrong with that.
I will keep all of my meals for the most part. Pad Thai is probably,
Yeah,
the
pad,
most
pad
adventurous
Thai has
that I've
become a staple for me.
I do Pad Thai every time.
trip. Yeah, every
but
trip.
I'll keep my Chipotle burrito to rice, chicken, cheese, and that's it. And that's okay. And you know what? I think
Wait a
maybe
second.
the last
Can we
time
go
I
back
did
to that for a
the last
second?
time I did the last time I did pull
Wait,
in.
I don't think
That's
you,
it?
I don't think you should be
No
allowed
sour cream?
to walk out of a Chipotle with a burrito like that. I
they're
don't
like, are
I,
you
you
sure?
know what? I
She's
typically
like, dude,
don't
I'm gonna
get it.
knock
Alex
$2
gets them.
off this because
I
you're
usually
missing
do pick
like
'em
so
up.
much weight.
Man.
Yeah,
They are, I mean, honestly,
Where's the fajita veggies? Where's
I don't
the
need that.
corn? Where's the sour
Corn I do
cream?
need.
Where's
You
the
gotta
cheese?
have
Where's
some-
the,
you
the
may
sour
not do- I
cream
may not-
might be the
I did
might
sour
be
cream.
the
the
I
key.
did
most
sour cream the
important.
last time.
Might be
And
the ticket.
I love. I will get the corn. I will get the fajita. I have to get them on the side. I'm not a huge onion fan. The fajita's okay because the onion's cooked. I love their corn. I will
yeah.
get their corn on the side, and I will literally pick out all of
man.
the onion.
Oh
You
my
just gotta
God,
embrace it.
corn,
dude.
dude.
You're a psycho.
So I will do that. I am a psycho on that for sure, dude. I know for sure.
Welcome to the
But-
Chipotle podcast.
Yeah.
honestly.
Send gift cards, please.
Are we sponsored or what? But
Should
no,
be.
the Chipotle burrito for the
Yeah,
first
hell yeah.
night
I will say,
is my favorite.
clutch.
regardless
man.
of your tastes,
Especially if you can do a fire.
regardless
and put it
of
on
your
the fire.
tastes and knowing that Brian's are terrible,
They're
the
still
Chipotle
real good.
burrito,
Knowing
is
that his
clutch.
taste needs sour cream and corn with onions.
So
I do
so
sour
we've
cream.
taken we've talked about like that that first meal and the lengths we've taken with Chipotle. Dude, the last trip we did the Chipotle burrito. I also brought 2 beers.
That's right.
That's
Because
right.
Well,
I was like,
the last trip we did, or not the last trip
Dolly.
the group did, but the last trip
that I
the- all
did,
four of
yeah.
us
So we
did.
did
did.
and
We
because
did
I
Dolly
knew
Sods
I
again.
knew it wasn't going to be too strenuous. Obviously,
And we were
I'm
staying at camp for
Two
2
nights.
nights in a row.
yeah, we were. We kind of did like a more leisurely trip where we were staying at camp for a couple nights, and I was like, I'm bringing a couple beers because I was like, typically all of us always bring a flask of whiskey, and that's great. I never drink it all. I never finish it all. I'm not like trying to like.
I cashed mine on the first night this last trip.
Did you really?
Yeah. It was like, oh my gosh, we had this beautiful fire. I smoked the whole thing. Yeah, it was gone.
That's so funny. It's just
Some trips, and that one's tough because, I love whiskey. It's the best. But after a cranberry day or where it's just absolutely rocks you, you're not going to sit down and be like, I'm going to drink, a whole
Casually
flask of whiskey.
sit here and drink this whiskey.
But a beer is different.
Oh yeah, and that's why I think I felt like I think this would be a fun thing to do this trip. And it's easy to pack out, smash down some aluminum
Right.
cans and get it out, and that's what I did. I knew that I was going to have to pack it out, but I'm also not. The liquid is the
You're not a
heavy
gram
weight.
winger,
I'm
so
not a
it was
gram
fine.
winger. I'm not a
Let's
gram
say,
winger.
man,
I already
a
got
couple
my
ounces
avocados.
of, aluminum
Yeah,
stack
yeah,
can make a
yeah.
I got my
difference.
avocados and my beers and my Chipotle burritos.
So I think it's funny talking about. Obviously, I think we've all done the Chipotle burrito. It's fantastic. I think so generally, and then we'll get to kind of maybe some lunch and some breakfast. Just
I want
'cause
to get to breakfast.
I think breakfast is one where it's like we're gonna get a lot of differing opinions
Yes.
and snacks too.
Oh, big time.
And so I think night one, I'm probably never going to deviate from the Chipotle burrito. It is so satisfying. It's so calorie dense. It's delicious. But I think if you're going to experiment with something, night one's the night to do it. We
100%.
could straight up bring slices of pizza. You could you could bring almost
Right.
anything
Almost
night
anything.
one because
What can survive
anything
for
that can
a few
survive
hours.
basically for anything could survive a couple of hours. So it doesn't matter.
Right. Oh.
You could bring anything.
You could bring a McDonald's burger with you.
A lot of people do.
So one of the things that I wanted to try to do on the trip was to bring some eggs. Again,
Yeah.
I wanted to try to do this, and I had the perfect idea actually. I had some carton that I had cut out that worked really good on the top of my pack. I was really, really confident that I would be able to keep them to not break. The problem, I didn't do enough research when it came to the difference between seriously fresh eggs.
Wasn't it pasteurized or
Pasteurized
something?
eggs.
Wasn't
No. What it is the eggs you get from the grocery store, they get washed.
They're washed.
And they get cold, right?
Yeah.
The moment that they start to get room temperature or warm, they start to grow bacteria, right?
Because when you wash them, it washes away that protective
they wash
layer
them,
the shell has.
It takes away that protection
Yeah.
from it.
So a farm
you have
fresh
to keep them
egg
cold.
by itself, if you don't do anything to it, will last quite a
fine.
long time.
It will.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
because-
start messing with it and
Yeah.
put it in a grocery store, it doesn't last as long.
Exactly.
See where you're going here starts to get into extra effort, and this is where, this is where I
This is where
mentally
Alex
bow
shows
out. But I love eggs.
This is the
so,
extra
yeah.
effort that I like, and
Yeah.
my family does get farm fresh eggs. I get 2 dozen a week, and I am going to consciously next time we go on a backpacking trip
Keep some out of the
keep
fridge.
some out of the fridge,
Right.
so that I'll keep for the next trip and be
Yeah, and
able
you
to
bring
use
that
them.
special spam pan, and you throw some of the Maggies
Dude,
in
honestly,
there.
and because we were going to talk about breakfast, I don't even want them for breakfast because honestly, breakfast for me is a bar and coffee.
Yeah, simple as
I
possible.
instant
totally
coffee.
All right, so
disagree.
let's do that. Let's make a jump. Let's talk about breakfast. What's everyone's opinions on breakfast? Brian,
you wanna
go
start
ahead.
us out? Or, well,
you,
me?
Brian with a Y. Start
with a Y?
us
All right.
off because you've got you're
was-
like the skinniest guy here, but the most calorie dense, thoughtful person.
And I
here.
feel like on every meal, I'm the outlier when we get to lunch and
you
snacks. too, I'm gonna
you're
be there too.
becoming. Yeah.
So, but no, all right, breakfast is huge. So I'm probably better at breakfast on the trail than I am actually at home, but because it's just coffee. But breakfast, you must have coffee.
Yes.
I must have coffee.
I agree with that.
I
When
do-
I'm waking-
I do
when
agree with that.
Coffee must happen.
We've done the easiest and honestly, it's great is those instant coffee
oh
little
my gosh.
pouches.
Yeah,
but we have brought
AeroPress,
the
French press.
which
Yep.
is easy. Again, another easy thing to bring, lightweight.
It's just another thing you
And
have to bring.
it's quality.
We haven't
But
brought
not
we haven't brought an
necessary.
espresso machine yet, but I mean, there's still time. But no,
As soon as we get that power,
French press.
Yeah. Once we find the AC converter out there, we'll crush it.
we could bring an espresso machine to camp. I don't know.
So coffee. I mean, that's a
Not
staple.
wrong.
I think every single one of us is going to say we need coffee in the morning. For me, I have a staple breakfast that is 2 packs of instant oatmeal, flavor to your choosing, wherever you
packs.
prefer. 2 packs, of course. 2 packs of
Why one?
I will say this: 1 pack is never.
It's never enough.
Those
no.
are pretty tiny.
So 2 packs of instant oatmeal and some sort of dried. So I usually do dried cranberries, and I'll take a scoop of protein powder, and I'll put that in a Ziploc.
so much.
So all of that is in a Ziploc, and all I have to do is boil some water, dump all that into it, let it do its thing, and then I have a full breakfast and coffee.
I don't disagree on the ease of that.
It's amazing. It's
But-
delicious.
Not being an intermittent faster and not a breakfast eater,
Same.
I think about eating that in the morning, and I feel like I could puke.
I would
thinking
gag,
about
dude.
that.
Dude,
are you-
so
Brian,
much food, dude.
How?
Brian,
That
do
is
you,
not a lot
let
of
me,
so
let me
much
just
food.
smack this protein powder.
And then
in
let
there.
me.
Are you
let me,
kidding
Let
me?
me strap this
scoop.
pack on
What
and
do
go
you-
20 miles.
what do you eat
Yeah.
for breakfast on a normal
Yeah.
day?
I'm right now.
A loaf of bread? Like what?
No, I mean eggs. Usually eggs, several of them, and then
I don't eat. I just don't eat breakfast. I have
and so
coffee
yeah, I
as
don't-
breakfast.
what my breakfast should lately have been pretty bad, but what my breakfast should be is either I'll do a shake in the morning, or if I'm not doing that, I'll do eggs and eggs and toast or eggs and bacon.
Are
or
you
whatever.
working out in the morning?
No, if I'm when I'm good about it, which hasn't been recently. I do it in the evening. I do it after dinner.
Interesting.
Okay, so that
Good
sounds
kickstart. It's a good kickstart to
that
the day,
sounds
especially
like-
out on the trail. That is a lot
like,
of.
I think the three of us
you
are Alex,
generally
Brian,
similar,
and myself are similar, where we don't really eat breakfast. I just drink a shit ton of coffee. On the
Same.
trail, though, I know I need something, so I will just pick my tastiest Cliff Bar, and that's it.
yeah, crush it.
I do. Yeah. So I'll
can't do
do.
it.
I'll do a coffee, and then I will have one of 2 bars.
And what's
I'll do.
so on coffee? And I'm just curious because I've got a perspective on it now that I've tried a couple. Does anyone have a perspective on coffee on the trail?
So
I know what I don't like, but I'll let you
Go ahead.
No, you go first.
I've tried a couple of the brands, but the brand that I always come back to is the Alpine.
Alpine
Alpine
yeah.
Start.
Alpine Start.
Same.
I was
It's
just looking
instant
it up.
coffee. It tastes good. I honestly, if I was in a pitch, I would drink it regularly.
Yeah, yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Not bad.
So I'll do that, and then I don't typically drink straight up black coffee. I'm a cream guy, so
I
will.
got you, and I got something for you.
I will put in. It's a coconut milk cream that has like a vanilla hint flavor to it. So I'll do a pack of the Alpine Start, and then I'll do a pack of the coconut vanilla cream, and I'll put that in, and that's my coffee.
So, two thoughts. I'll zig before I zag. I completely agree with Alpine Start. I think it's the best. I think we've done AeroPress coffee. We've tried
Starbucks.
number of
We've
coffee
tried
things.
Starbucks instant
We've
coffee.
had Starbucks. We've had
Which is
Maxwell
the
House,
Viva or
I've
whatever,
done
I think.
Verve. We've done
Right.
like a number of coffee things.
Yeah.
It always comes back to Alpine Start.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
It's the
100%.
best.
I agree.
And then, so you're talking about, and this is a recent discovery that Allison and I had on our trip out west. So Alpine Start makes a coffee with cream in it,
Nope.
I've seen that.
Nope.
Interesting.
and it's good.
It's the blue pack, right?
Is this?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's
'cause
good.
the green
It's-
one
it's,
is
it's
the
a little
black
different.
one.
The green
Is
one
this-
is just straight up coffee, but it's really good.
Is that
Yeah,
what you?
REI
Is that what
sells
you
it.
brought on the wife packing trip?
I don't remember.
Yeah, you mentioned Allison.
Because-
For the listeners, that's Alex's wife.
Yeah.
So yeah, and the wife packing trip is when we brought our wives backpacking with us.
I didn't. I,
it
knew
may,
better.
It may have been that one.
That when I said I know what I don't like, that's what I was referring to.
Oh, is that right? I thought it was pretty good.
I did not like it.
I don't.
didn't
but
have it.
on the trail specific. I almost always exclusively drink black coffee anyway, unless
Yeah.
I'm getting like a latte or something special, like trying to zhuzh it up on a work week. But on the trail, it's like just black coffee is fine for me. So
I didn't
same.
realize that was Alpine. That did that, but the mixture, having it both together, for some reason it was.
I didn't mind. I didn't mind having that separate pack. Like you can choose how much of it you want to put in. And I do like the I think it's a vanilla. They probably have like hazelnut and all that.
And they've got so many. I mean, you bring an Alpine Start, which is literally a little, sleeve.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And it weighs nothing. And then you bring, whatever your favorite powdered creamer is.
Yeah. And honestly, it's probably not even.
Well, I was going to say the most
thing.
important thing is, Brian, how much does that weigh?
I don't know. I weigh my food bag as a whole, not as you know.
Hey man, I think you can do better. I think you can get a little more granular.
I could. Maybe I will.
Yeah.
So I'll go down to like a breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah.
You know.
So all right. So on that note, coffee. We talked about that.
So let's keep on coffee for a second. We have tried AeroPress.
Yeah, it's good.
And I know this was big when we did Dolly.
Yeah.
And me personally, I would rather the little sleeve of Alpine.
It's way too much effort.
It's so much effort.
Way too much effort for anything other than the Alpine Start.
Again, one of the reasons why I wanted to do that is because I knew we were going to be at camp for 2 days.
Yeah.
And if I was going to be staying in one place and I didn't have to clean and take out and pack up
we
that
knew we had
AeroPress,
water.
I knew I had water right there. I was cool with taking the effort, and I liked it because I got the beans from my local roaster.
Right.
Like I brought that stuff, and it was great. But I agree, Alpine Start is really good because again. And I hate that we're plugging just this one single brand, but we've tried so many other ones, and they're honestly not as good.
Yeah.
Instant coffee is inherently like terrible. I'm so against it because like I am a fully like I grind my beans every morning. I paid way too much money for the coffee machine that's in my kitchen. Like I care about this stuff.
I kind of love the fact
and I like Alpine Start.
Yeah, I kind of love the fact that it's and I don't know much about the company or whatever, but I kind of love the fact that it's specifically designed to be a coffee you take on the trail. Instead of like Starbucks, it's like, we got this sleeve of, powder that you can make coffee out of. And it's like, this is for backpacking.
They knew there was a
market
for it, man.
Right.
And
so
for sure.
It's good.
So with the coffee, I think that we've covered that. You think? Yeah, and I think we've got some coffee snobs here. Yeah, we do like coffee. Yeah. So I think for me, breakfast, I like to be as simple as possible. But. So for me, I'm with you, Austin. Like, throw me a bar, like maybe.
Yeah.
But recently, this last trip, I bought these like cinnamon toast crunch bars. They're like totally trashy. Like my kid eats them.
Yeah.
But it was fun. They were good. They weren't as filling as like a Cliff Bar or anything. Yeah, right.
They're terrible for me.
I
give them to my kid.
But this last trip, we had two people join us after the first night.
Oh gosh.
And they brought with them. They met us in the morning at our campground, and they brought a bag of McDonald's.
What?
Well, there you go.
Breakfast sandwiches.
There you go.
This whole episode isn't even about trail food.
And hash browns.
You bring for a meal.
And listen.
Oh my God.
I want to be simple for breakfast, and I know we were giving Brian a hard time for making this hearty two bag oatmeal. But I'll be damned. A breakfast sandwich after a day on the trail is a delight, and it was great. All right, so with that, it was very rare, right? Like the likelihood of that happening ever again, very low.
Yeah, whatever.
So all right, so let's talk about lunch.
Well, okay.
What does everyone think about lunch?
I'm honestly,
I'll be the outlier again.
I'm dinner focused. So typically what I do for lunch is I'll bring like a peanut butter pouch. Like what I typically do is I get like a big thing of Skippy's peanut butter, like the pouch that you can squeeze, and I put that on a tortilla, maybe some granola that I bring or like some nuts that I bring. But man, again, like one of the things we talked about in the previous episode when we were talking about things that we overpacked, I overpacked food my first time on the trail. I think we all did.
Yeah.
And it was just so much. I honestly eat less than I thought I would.
I always eat less.
And so I kind of just focus it on dinner. And then
dinner is the key.
And then Brian with a Y over here is shaking his head because he's like,
the man must eat.
The man must eat to make sure he doesn't disappear.
My body will eat itself if I don't.
Before Brian goes into his entire thing for
it's
his
not
lunch
a big
and
thing for lunch.
Yeah.
So
Gosh.
I try to keep lunch pretty simple as well.
Same.
I can't remember which trip it was when I started doing it, but I have the same thing for lunch every single day. I'll get a block of cheese that can just stay out.
Yeah.
I'll slice off some cheese on that. There's some pre-sliced package salami and pepperoni that's really good. That doesn't need to be refrigerated.
Circle meat.
Circle meat. I'll eat that with the cheese. I think one time I maybe brought crackers.
You used to do peanut butter tortillas. I thought
the first 2 trips I did peanut butter and tortilla. I did the tortillas weighed a lot, and it was almost too filling for me for lunch. So
hold on real quick.
I just didn't.
You know what we need to do?
Tortilla weighs
because I've been cracking up over here
weighs
about
a
circle
lot.
meat. Every time somebody says circle meat, we need to go in a circle and say circle meat. Because you went circle meat and he went circle meat. so try this again. So what I like to have is
I like circle meat.
Circle meat.
and then we just go on. That's what we got to do.
So yeah, and it's simple. It tastes good. So I do that for every single lunch, and I will always. Austin's brother-in-law Paul.
Oh
he
gosh,
he comes with
Clutch.
us now too.
Treat Paul.
Treat Paul, Candy Paul,
Silent Paul, Treat Paul. he brought a Snickers bar. I can't remember. It was the first trip he came with us on.
Yeah.
I always pack a Snickers
That's
bar
crazy.
for lunch. So it'll be my circle meats.
Circle meat.
Circle meat.
It'll be my cheese, and it will be a Snickers bar. That's lunch.
I like it. I think we're at the point where we need to wrap up a little bit, and I really want us to cover. Man, you know what? This is a funny episode because part of this has been talking about what we eat on the trail, but a lot of it has been talking about Chipotle,
McDonald's,
and then now we're gonna get into the post meal. Like to me,
Post-meal.
like one
yes.
of the, and it's the same thing with like
Shout out to Crunchies on Michigan State campus.
We'll get
in
that.
Lansing,
In Lansing.
I have the address pulled up. If anybody's gonna go in
Crunchies,
Michigan,
we
I know for me.
it
I know
is
for me. Like
so good.
I am. Like I've run marathons, and the best thing for me when I'm done with a marathon is that celebratory meal.
Yeah,
it's
man.
the same thing with backpacking because it's not like we're starving on the trail. Clearly, we've talked about
No,
how
dude,
well we
you're
eat.
eating fine.
You're eating fine, but man, you're working your butt off, and it's really nice to like get a nice cold tall beer and whatever. And we've had some pretty epic meals, and I think it's fun to kind of do that at the end of a trail. I don't want to have to just go to Wendy's at the end of it.
Nah,
I want to
man,
go somewhere. I want to be.
Shout out to Lost Province Brewing in Boone, North Carolina.
Oh man, that place is amazing.
Also incredible.
Dude.
I mean,
So
shout out
that
to
was-
B-Dubs.
yes.
Shout out
I
to
mean, we
B-Dubs
did-
after the first
well,
Dolly
we
trip.
did one
and,
we did B-Dubs. That was in the middle of the pandemic. It was like
That's right,
it
that's
was
right.
like April or May of 2020.
Yeah.
And so it was pretty early on. And B-Dubs in like West Virginia was
They
like
delivered.
the only place open. Of course, there was not a mask to be seen. It was just like it was the only place that would accept us, And it worked out really well. But I will say this. The Lost Prophet in Boone,
Oh my gosh.
was the first non-keto meal I had done after I had done months of
That's
keto,
right, that's
and I had
right.
done the
Yeah.
trail keto. And honestly, I could sit here and say that was probably one of the best meals I've ever had in my life. I had a pimento cheeseburger. I got a dozen like bomb wings and like
Yeah.
3 tall beers, and I deleted it. And you guys were still like halfway through your meal, and I'm sitting there like, this was the
Done.
best. I was a vacuum.
Oh my gosh.
I love
so good.
I love how on the trips we've done, usually the template is unless we're showing up at a really weird time, but the template is usually like on our way there we're getting some
Snack.
garbage. Just
Yeah.
McDonald's,
Oh, yeah.
Wendy's, some fast food, whatever. Just something
Taco
that'll
Bell.
get us
we
by.
know it's gonna get
Right.
erased.
Yeah.
Just get
Yeah.
us into the trail and then get us going. And then on the way back is that special. And I love, like, usually we don't plan our trail.
Oh no.
And then, like, before even hitting the trail, know what we're going to hit on the way back.
No.
It's when we leave, we're
Post-
on our phones,
yeah.
like, all
Yeah.
right.
You've gotta. It's like
what
going
do
to
we
the
got?
grocery store hungry. It's like
Oh,
you've got to look
yeah.
for that post meal.
Yep.
Hungry.
Yep.
And the
Yeah.
only real like caveat is like, okay,
It might be
must
an hour
have
out.
beer
Yeah.
and they have to have a deep fryer. Like
And it
it's
might- and it might-
trashy,
and it might
whatever.
be-
Like we
it might
want to
be
eat
an hour.
healthy
Wings are always
food.
so
Yeah.
good to
Oh,
have.
yeah.
And it might be an hour out. Like, we've waited
yeah. Yeah.
after the end of the trail.
Okay, so we did the second Dolly Sods trip. The place that we went to was good, but
Oh my
they
gosh.
like
Oh,
did
dude.
one meal at a time.
Right.
I remember there were like 6 or 7 of us.
2
and
hours.
The first
to
person
get
who got their
food.
food was already done with their food before the last person had even gotten their
rough.
food. It was bad.
Yeah.
The food was good, but it was, when you're in those podunk towns in the
That's-
middle of
yeah.
nowhere, like
They're
that.
not used
Love
to-
you, West Virginia.
They're like,
Yeah, they're not used to seeing.
I haven't
8
seen
people
this
at
many
once.
customers in here. Like,
Yeah,
it's,
I mean, they had like a wine and canvas event
dude,
going on in
how
the background.
weird was
Oh,
that
yeah,
place?
It was so strange.
It was
Yeah.
so strange.
Cowboy boots, hats.
But let's talk about
Yeah.
crunchies.
Oh my god!
Yeah, dude.
crunchies.
That's my favorite.
That
after
was
trail
probably
meal.
our favorite.
So let's give
For
credit.
sure.
Let's give credit to our. This was Paul, right?
I think it was Paul.
Where he
Paul
he
Paul
kind of
loves
knew
crunchies.
He knew
Yeah.
ahead of time. He's like, hey,
No, he didn't know.
I thought he did.
I think
no,
we discovered it on the way.
It was all online because we, again, like what we normally do is we got off the trail and we all were on our phones trying to
I
figure
think
out
it
a
was
place.
like, dude, find a place that has wings.
Yeah,
Find a
thought
place
that was
has
the
think
big
you're
thing
right.
was
I think
wings.
you're right.
the
And
big thing was
we're all
wings.
crazy.
I
Wings were
thought, I thought somebody
great.
knew about it ahead of time.
No,
but
no. So
we knew we needed wings. And
in
that was the big thing.
Crunchies in East Lansing on
Yeah.
the Michigan University campus is special. It's just a great campus bar and grill with these Mondo wings and
gosh.
just delicious fried pickles.
Burgers. Oh, the
Yeah.
fried
Oh,
pickles, dude. I
man.
almost forgot about
and
the fried
and good
pickles, dude.
news, shout out to Crunchies. Karaoke is back every Thursday
Yes,
and Friday.
yes, we have to go.
It was so good.
It was.
So
I mean
good.
that obvious that by far tops any post trail meal we've ever had.
That was great.
I
Lost
agree.
Profits for me was really, really
Lost
great for
Profits was
different
good.
reasons.
That was a
but
little
like
bit more
Crunchies,
fancy.
Yeah, for
it was
sure.
a nice brewery.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was different. Crunchies is like
we belong
down
to
home.
Crunchies.
We
Oh,
belong
yeah.
to Crunchies.
But I do know one thing I like, and not all of us, but me and your brother Mike. But one post trail meal staple for me is I'm getting 2 entrees.
Oh, I get 2 entrees typically too.
It's
You guys are
100% of the
absolutely
time.
crazy.
I get.
I'm getting a burger and
Yeah.
I'm getting a full entree of wings
Yeah.
and I'm getting a side.
I do the same.
And it every time. And it's
Yep.
that's been since the first trip. I remember the
Amazing.
first trip going to B-Dubs afterward and watching the Cavs game.
That's
I'm
right,
like, I
that's
need a
right.
burger. I need I need 12 wings. I need fries. I need this. I had a smorgasbord.
I need 4
for me.
beers.
And
Yeah.
and I need at
Insane.
least
We
2
mogged
beers.
down, yeah.
And you're recuperating after 3
Oh
days
yeah,
of being
it's
out
and,
there.
and like
you know?
quite
Definitely.
frankly, like I think last trip we did, I think I looked at my I usually wear my Apple Watch now and like use my phone for GPS, so I'm always charged up. I think we burned like something like 3,800 calories in a day.
Oh
So
yeah.
like you multiply that by
yeah.
like
Yeah.
basically 2.5. It's like whatever you eat is going away.
Right,
matter.
and we talk
Right.
about our ramen
Crazy,
bombs and
man.
our
None of
Mountain
those
House
meals
stuff.
are
not
enough to replenish.
You're not
it.
replenishing
No.
what you if you're doing, especially on the trips where we're doing those type of miles,
The
that
challenging
kind of
ones
miles.
where we
Right.
want to burn.
Right,
Yeah.
you're not replenishing what you kill, and it's
No way.
and that meal after is just that like all right,
It's like guilt free,
You
like
made it.
eating. Like
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not totally guilt free. I guess if you're like mindful of your eating, but like, yeah, it's guilt free eating. For
No,
sure.
For me
I
it
feel
is.
like most of the time I'm pretty mindful. I'd lose my mind when I do that. I don't think about it. I do.
Like, I want
throwing
this.
caution
I
to the
order
wind.
whatever I want.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
And it's
There's no resistance. There's
incredible.
no like thinking about it. It's this pimento cheeseburger is getting shotgunned right into my mouth.
yeah. I think
Now
the
I'm
only
hungry.
improvement to post trail meals that we could make is if we could somehow send notice to those places ahead of time. Like, by the way, you're going to get
this
8
is
people.
happening.
Yeah.
And they're going to eat.
Prepare.
a
There
lot.
might be 8
Prepare
people.
the fryers.
There might be 8 people here, but you're gonna prepare 14 entrees.
yeah.
And it's a good cap off outside of just replenishing what you lost.
Right.
It's
right,
a good
right.
cap.
It's
all
the
we do
trophy.
during that meal is talk about the trail that we
Yeah.
just did, and just recap on everything that happened, and then be able to kind of
Well, we rehash the past too,
Right.
and I think that's the
segue
kind of
back
fun
into
beauty of it.
segue back into normal life and get out of
Yeah.
trail mode, and it's
It's a great way to
special thing.
cap it off. So I think in recap with this episode, we've covered a lot of different things, aspect, basically every food that, every meal that you can have from
We
the
missed
beginning to the end of the
my
trip.
oysters and sardines, but
Yeah,
we'll catch it on another
that's
episode.
another thing.
We don't need to talk
think,
about that.
I think that a nice episode that we might do in the future is maybe try some things that we've found online, some suggestions
For sure.
as
Yeah.
far
Oh,
as
yeah.
meals and stuff like that. And again, like if you guys have comments, you have suggestions, things that we should try out on the trail, it'd be fun to.
Oh, and
I know
am
these guys.
100%. If there's anything, I will try.
Oh yeah.
Dang near
Garbage
anything.
disposal.
Well, and
I will-
even if there's
you
like,
send me something, I will try it on a trip.
and even if there's
let's do it.
dehydrated food brands
Yeah,
that
that
we
you
haven't
think's
had, because
good.
most of our stuff has been Backpackers
Pantry
Pantry
or
and
Mountain
Mountain
House,
House.
yeah.
So if there's another one out there that might be like worth it for us to try out, let us know, and we'll
And-
try it
and
out and let
also,
you guys know.
One beautiful thing about, we joke about the ramen bomb, but one thing about it is there's infinite variations of it.
Of course, we're talking about the ramen bomb again.
Right. If you have your thing, like, let me know, because I want to try it. If it's a version of the ramen bomb or the thing that nobody else does on a trail that you figured out that's awesome, like I want to try that stuff.
Brian with a Y is going to have his own fan club within this
I know.
podcast.
Yeah.
The Ramen
100%.
Bombers.
The
The
ramen
guy
bomb.
who
Ramen
invented
bombers.
the ramen bomb is going to be like, "Hey man, I need some royalties.
I need some royalties. You just made it so famous.
That guy's probably long gone since however old ramen is. That's how old the ramen bomb is, I'm sure. If someone figured that out a long time ago.
Yeah, the patron saint of ramen bombs.
Well, until our next meal on the trail, boys.
Yeah. Take care.
Take care.
Hey, everybody. Thanks again for listening. Make sure to like and subscribe, leave a comment for us, and we will see you next time.
See you on the trail.
The Trail Theory Podcast is sponsored by Audiomute and Audio Technica. Music by Dan Koch.